Hi everyone, welcome to Kats Creations. Tonight we are making a wine-inspired wreath. It's actually going to be a winery-inspired. So like the Tuscan villa, vineyard, that whole kind of theme. This is the sign. It is a 12-inch round. They call it 11.75 inches. It's from Craft Outlet. I bought it about 6 months ago. It's out of stock now. So if you go to Craft Outlet, you won't find it. I'm trying to think of what else, but there are a ton of substitute other type of signs you can do. I know I've shopped on Amazon and gotten wine label type signs, or you can go shop on Etsy. Trying to think, who else have I shopped with for signs? There's just a ton out there for wine. So we're kind of doing this a little bit more themed for a vineyard. I get requests for this particular type of wreath every year, so I'm going to make it so it's stocked, ready in the shop. We're using a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame, which is going to be most of my standby that I use. I'm going to show you how to finish wiring this one up. As you come in, say hi. I'd like to see you and welcome you to joining us on our live. If you're new, let us know. We'd like to welcome you. You'll also probably make a crafting connection here, especially if you say, hi, I'm Kat, I'm from California. And then somebody else will come in and be like, oh, really? What part of California? And you just kind of start your own dialogue and you become crafting buddies. So when using the 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame, you are going to, there are a grand total of 6 sections, and I've already done the first 5, so I'm going to show you how you would go about doing all 6, keeping in mind that I've already done these. So you're going to use your weld marks. You're going to take your pipe cleaner. You're going to go ahead and put it in on the first 2 inner rails. You're going to go ahead and give it a twist. And then the reason why we wire together 2 is it creates stability in your pipe cleaner so it won't wobble. Then we're going to do the outside 2 using either the weld on your left or right, and then the center one we just put in to kind of find a center point, like here. And then we're going to do one here. This will give you 6 on the inside, 12 on the outside for a grand total of 18. And then you can just pretty much go through and do the rest of the ones so you're all done. We're going to go ahead and use the ruffle method. I really wanted to do cruffle on this particular design, but because the sign is so large, if we did cruffles, we're really going to have to work around the little curl tubes that you get with that look. So I just felt with this size sign, it would look better if we did ruffle technique. So we're using the cream and natural, this is called the jute burlap, to do our ruffles with. You cannot cut it with a wood burning tool because it's got those natural jute fibers running through it. So when you do the ruffle technique, you're just going to kind of find a middle point. So I'm going to be following this white line all the way through the end, and you're just going to start to gather and pull your mesh towards you. The only reason I have my scissors there is so my mesh stays flat. So we're going to use the finished edge. Finished edges going towards the center. We have our cut edges that are on the sides, and then we have that other finished edge at the bottom. The reason why I put mine this way is because with this particular type of mesh and the fact that you cannot wood burn it, it frays a lot. So you want to keep the frays at a minimum, and the only way to do that is to take the cut edges and put them in places where hopefully you won't have an awful lot of play. So you're going to have that more along the bottom, like where the customer is going to be hanging it, fluffing the ribbons.
Feel free to like and share.
Yes, you can feel free to like and share. That's how you actually get notified when I go live, is if you are liked and followed. And then while you're watching this video today, if you click or tap on the video, you should get 3 dots in the upper right hand corner. If you click on that, it'll open up a sub menu that will allow you to turn your live notifications on or off. Hopefully you want them on. And then when we go live, if you're on your mobile device, you should be notified when we go live. So I'm going to do this 18 different times all the way around. I am removing the inside 6 due to the size of the sign. It's way larger, so all those 6 pipe cleaners on the inside are just going to basically be covered up by the size of our sign. Okay. So happy Friday to those of you that are joining. This has been one of my favorite designs. Just because I love the Italian vineyards. Never been, but I've seen lots of photos. So this just kind of helps me feel like if I was to design one based on what I see or think a vineyard wreath would look like, this would be it. Are you getting kicked out?
No.
No? Okay. If you find that you're starting to have issues with the live, it's stalling, it's not doing anything, it's freezing on you, close out your Facebook app and then come back in. Sometimes that corrects that issue. Just trying to make sure they're all going in the right direction. And I'm pulling my pipe cleaners on the outside towards the outside so they're easier to see. So when we get ready to come in and lay our ribbon in, it makes it super easy for us to find those.
The length of the mesh is cut to 20 inches.
I totally forgot
And
that.
Urbina, the sign came from Craft Outlet. Kat bought it probably about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
She's had it for a while.
That was my last push. Like when you know it's coming down to the end of the year and you're like, oh, I should probably like make one final order because then you get to write that off on the previous tax year. That's kind of what I did. So I made sure I had some spring, some Valentine's Day signs. A little too big of a piece.
This lush, she uses 18 pipe cleaners total. 12 on the outside, 6 on the inside.
I missed one right here in the middle. There we go. Which is not a big deal.
Oh, and thank you for sending 250 stars.
Thank you for that reminder too. So stars. Stars are the little icon at the bottom. I believe it's to the right of your comment. You'll see a little star icon. That is for you to contribute to the fundraising we're doing this month. And this month's fundraiser, I remembered, is we're doing pet donation. So with the passing of Betty White, who was a big, huge animal advocate and proponent, we are going to take all the money that we raise from your stars contributions and donate it to the local pet shelters.
And I said, hello everybody, snow's coming Sunday. Be safe and warm, everyone.
Snow is coming here.
Right.
We were lucky to get...
said, oh my word, I love that sign.
Isn't that pretty? When I saw it, I was like, okay.
And then Karen asked, when did you make the wreath behind you? That's the Mardi Gras wreath.
Yeah, that we actually made in our Wreath of the Month group. So
Last Saturday.
Yeah, it was last Saturday. So that's just my Wreath of the Month group just allows I think the best way I've heard it described, it's a taste to wreath making. Like if you're not sure you want to jump in and do the whole wreath making thing, the Wreath of the Month group is a way for you just to kind of focus on nothing but one design each month. And so it was actually December's design, but because the day that we scheduled it kind of fell on Christmas and New Year's, we pushed it into the first weekend in January.
Hi everybody, hope you have a great weekend. Oh, Irvina, the sign is 11.75 inches, so close to 12.
I just rounded to 12.
A little big.
But not too big.
So
I mean,
works, yeah.
Before the invention of 10-inch rounds, we all used the 12-inch rounds.
Right,
Yeah, that's all we used. We either had that, and then people started doing 8-inch rounds, which were a little smaller, but gave you an awful lot of room to do so much more with. Okay, I think we're a little more than halfway. Okay. So now we're back to the outside. So I wanted to have a very neutral base because we're just going to pop the greens and the purples from the sign throughout the entire design. So the focal point is the sign. The design inspiration is around the grapes that are on the sign. So we're gonna see, I've never done green grapes on a wreath design before. We still are gonna use the grape, purple colored, the darker purple. It's got a little bit of red in it too.
Thank you, John. She sent 200 stars.
Thank you.
Anna asked for the wreath of the month. You sent us everything we need to make the wreath, right?
No.
No.
No, because there are some people who just kind of want to, like, basically what happens is I send out a list that incorporates 2 months worth of a design, like January and February. And with that, we'll be like, here's where you could get your signs, and here's where you can order your materials. Just because we've kind of done a box type situation, but then there's so many things that go wrong with that, and there's so many people who like to just pick and supplement their own. So it gives them greater flexibility. They can choose not to do January's and pick up on February's instead, or sometimes they liked the theme for January and just kind of want to do their own thing. So we just get together and put the whole thing together collectively as a group. Sometimes though, everyone just wants to watch and see how it's going to work.
Right, because then they can use the replay and...
Yeah, they use the replay and go, okay. So Kat used some of the supplies from the Wreath of the Month group, but I always show you how you can embellish it and take it the next level up. But starting in, I think it's starting in January, if I'm not mistaken, or February, we're going advanced. Like every couple months, we're going to teach you a totally new wreath making technique so that you're not just watching the same old design put on a new themed wreath, if that makes sense.
So Laura asked, how do you get this list? You have to join the month of the Wreath of the Month group.
You have to join the Wreath of the Month group, and right now it's been closed for a while. Just because we had issues trying to do kits and then have members order kits, we kind of pulled the listing down because we're revamping it and restructuring it. But if you're interested, you can still join. It's just by invitation only. Send me an email at KatsCreations. I hate that. 777, that's going away, by the way. At gmail.com. And just say, I'm interested in the Wreath of the Month group, and I'll send you the link. And then you can hop over there and sign up. It's $10 for the month. And then, like I said, it's a really good way to see whether or not you want to go bigger or like jump in wholeheartedly.
Yep, but soon she'll be getting her own email address.
Yeah, it's in the works. I'm just waiting for them to connect everything so that No matter what email you choose, it all maps it over into the same spot. But the 777 is going to kind of go away quietly. Go quietly away. Okay, 2 more pieces and we're done. But yeah, right now it's invitation only. But anyone can join. There we go. Okay. I should tell you guys this too, because it's coming. We haven't made it a formal announcement. We've got a lot of things coming in 2022, but we just started a back to basics class for business and design. So if you think about going into business, any type of business for small business, or you just want to expand on the designs, you can join the private group, but the doors for open enrollment are closing at the end of this month. And we're not sure we're going to reopen them. And that'll allow us to really focus with the people who are in the group and that are really working hard for their design business and the business side of it. Does that make sense? I think so. Okay, look, it's all done. Base is all complete. It's a very neutral base, which is a really good place to begin. Even if you're like struggling on how to make a good base, picking a neutral color for your base is perfect because then you can accent it with your ribbons and your embellishment and your sign. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in this one kind of got stuck in the middle. We're going to add in our ribbon tails, which are, we have this gorgeous grape-inspired ribbon. So it's got your grape leaves, the purples, the merlots, and the greens. These are both cut to 14-inch pieces. This one is just like it's a velvet felt almost. I mean, it's not felt, but it's got a fuzziness to it. Where did they come from? The grape-inspired one is 5th Street Studios, and then the other one is Craft Outlet. So 14 inches for both of these. We're going to alternate the colors. So they're all dovetailed already. We just kind of have to find the midway point. So that's the point that's going to go inside our pipe liners. And since we're working it just on the outside 12 only, I'm going to go ahead and add in the ones that go on top, which are, we have another grape-inspired one. This is 1.5 inches. These are cut to 18-inch pieces. And then we have this Merlot solid. It's not really a satin. It's kind of hard to describe what it feels like. Not really gauzy, but it's a soft kind of a gauze. So we're going to take the grape-inspired ones. This is going to go on our solid green. And we're going to do half bows, which is just bring your wired edges together, come up to the top about 2 inches, pinch in, and then you're going to add these directly in to your pipe cleaner. And we're going to go ahead and give them their final twist, which means twist them about 5 times so there's no way they can come undone. You're going to take that leftover little piece, tuck it behind your ribbon loop. You're going to open the loop, and then you're going to open your tails. You'll have to right side one of them because the way they go in is, you know, you're going back to back. But let me show you what this looks like once I get these finished. So that is what it ideally will look like. And then we're going to take that solid Merlot and add that to our grape-inspired ones.
Thank you, Rita. She said the private group is awesome. I've learned so much. As a wonderful person and a great teacher.
Oh, thanks. We're really going to punch it up this year because I'm really serious about, there's a lot of people who said that they like okay, this is the year I'm going to start my business. I say that every year, but this is the year really. So,
Regina, really, that's interesting because every time Kat makes a wine wreath, it sells.
mm-hmm.
Pretty much within a couple weeks. She said she's made 2 wine wreaths and haven't sold either one yet.
So maybe it's how you're describing it or what people are using to search for it. Because I find that to be the case. Like what ends up happening is I forget about the winery wreaths, and then I'll have a customer message me and say, hey, are you going to make any winery wreaths? And I usually only make 1 or 2 every year, and then that's it. So you just want to make sure your search terms for that wreath include every conceivable thing, like wine bar, Tuscan vineyard, all kinds of stuff like that. Because you'd never know what people are looking for to try to find that. So as you can see, this is the outside look that we are going for all the way around our design. And Arvina, that's one of the things we'll work on in the group this year. Once we get through the back to basics, is we're really going to drill down on those keywords to make sure people can find your products. This one just kind of has to be babied a little bit because it's got really thick wire, but the inside, because it's so soft, it's very pliable. I'm so used to not having a trash can here. I started stockpiling my pipe cleaners. And I like look over and I'm like, oh, I should really probably throw that away. Like this. Drives me crazy. So I'm anxious to see, number 1, how it's going to look when it's finished, but also number 2, because we build the whole base somewhat, and then the minute that you put that sign on, it should just like really pull the whole design together. Then we're going to embellish it with some large and small grapes. I have some ivy, which we're going to weave in and around the design as well. Went to Hobby Lobby to look for, they've had it in the past where you can buy garland that actually has grapes incorporated into that garland, but they don't have it this year. I haven't seen it at ours.
Rita, the 2.5-inch green velvet is from Craft Outlet. The 2.5-inch winery with grape ribbon is from 5th Street Studios.
Yeah, all the wine patterned one is 5th Street Studios. So both the inch and a half. Yeah.
And then the other 1.5-inch burgundy is from Shinoda. But you can find something similar like that on Craft Outlet or the Wreath Shop.
Hobby Lobby even has something, but it's pretty sheer. So it's almost like, I guess it would be, it's not really a plum color. And it's not really a Merlot color. It's kind of like a purpley red. See? Tertiary color, right? Hard to match.
Linda, yeah, she says you've done a grapevine wreath, wine wreath. Yeah, you have before.
Have I? No. Now you're going to make me go back and look at all my designs. That would be really pretty. It's funny though. It's like sometimes grapevines don't sell and they sit, and mesh wreaths sell. So it's kind of odd, you know, because every time we make a design, you're trying to figure out, you're trying to appeal to a buyer. I don't think I've done one. Just a grapevine. No. But that would be fun. Maybe we'll do that this year. Yeah.
There you go, next Friday.
No, we're not. We're moving into spring and Easter is what we're doing. This is just mixing it up and getting out of the seasonal picks. It's like we've already done Mardi Gras, we've done Easter, and we've done St. Patrick's Day, and so this is like those in between where you have people who don't necessarily buy the Mardi Gras or St. Patrick's Day. They'll probably buy Valentine's, and then after Valentine's, sometimes they'll just put an everyday wreath in that kind of goes with their house or their decor. So this is like one of those where it's non-seasonal. It's funny, my cousin owns her own winery. I should bug her. I'd be like, let me design one for your winery. But she's all the way on the East Coast. See, it's all those little things that bug. There we go. See, so once you dovetail these, you get those little, like they just don't want to stay where you want to put them. And that's the great thing about having thick wire. Sometimes it'll help hold up. So I'm kind of trimming this up as we go along, making sure everything's laying the way you want. The photos with this one will have to wait until tomorrow because I love seeing it on the door when you've got the right sunlight, the right lighting. You just can't get that from artificial light. I feel like I'm only about halfway. A little bit more than halfway. So on Sunday, in the public group, we are making a spring-inspired wreath. So it'll have lots of pastels, which is a really great design for using up leftovers. So if you have a whole bunch of half-roll pastels, this is going to be the perfect design for you. This is going to have lots of pastels in it. Okay. We're back to green. You guys are awful quiet. Three more sections, and then the outside will be complete, and then we'll start making our bow. See, I like this one because it's not sheer, it's solid, but it's not a satin ribbon. turn the fireplace off, babe? I can feel our fireplace from here. I'm like, it's getting a little warm. I think our winter is officially over here in our high desert.
I don't think so.
Oh, I do. We're not going to get any more of the freezing temperatures. Everything's going to start to go about 50 during the day.
Oh, Peggy, thanks for letting us know. She said prayers for Jane Ward. She was in a big car accident, rolled 4 times.
Wow.
Resting at home awaiting tests and scans.
That's crazy.
Yeah, let her know we're praying for her, Peggy.
She's from Australia, right, Peggy?
Yeah, I think so.
And I know down in Australia things are already challenging enough as it is.
Yeah. John said beautiful colors.
Thank
Someone
you.
said I made an oval grapevine wreath, but it's still in my shop. Maybe have to change the keywords.
Yes.
Yes.
Mix them up. So what I recommend is use a thesaurus and look for other ways to say winery.
Yeah.
You know, think about how this could be used. Like, I'm trying to think. We have a really small, like a wine tasting room up here. This would be great in that business.
Yeah, Anna said she needs to make a few of those, but she has a winery 15 minutes from her. If you guys have wineries nearby, take them out and market to them.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, you probably get the winery to purchase them for their
Tasting
rooms or even outside.
or for their customers.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. That might just be your niche there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do our bow. So we're going to use all of the same colors. So we have our solid here. So I'm going to start with this on the bottom. I want to make sure that we can see. So I'm going to plop that one up there. So the first thing we want to do is put our dovetail cut in the end of this ribbon. So that just means bring your wired edges together, and you're going to cut from the folded side down to your wired point. Just like so. Like I said, I have really thick wire at the bottom or along the edges. And this one is going to be at 10 inches in. So right at 10 inches, I'm going to gather that. Use my Bodabra and I'm going to twist. And just go ahead and put that twisted part right in the inside. Oops. Trying to get this to lay flat. We're going to go 5.5 inches out. Make sure. I think that's more like 6. It is 6. Let's bring it in. And then we'll go 5.5 other side. Make sure. And then we're back out to our 10-inch line. You can see how thick it is. Do another dovetail. Make sure. Okay, there's that one. This one didn't have a pin. Oh yeah, it did. It's just very small to see. Okay. Now we're going to use our Winery. I just love this ribbon. It's so beautiful. This one's going to be 9.5 inches for our tail length and 5 inches for our loop length. So there's the 9.5. We're going to go 5. And I'm always double checking the lengths, because if you're consistent in the lengths of your ribbon on both sides, it should turn out a good quality bow by the time you finish. So 5 and then back out. Pull this out of the way. 9.5. Dovetail cut. That one's done. I already have my glue gun plugged in. Move it down to low. And then we have our 1.5 inches. So we have the Winery-Inspired. We have our burgundy. And then we have green. And we have that raised white stitching, which you guys all love so much. So I think I'm going to go in with my Merlot. Then I think I'm going to come in like this. Let's see. Unless I do this. Yeah, let's do it that way. This way we're getting like a green-red mix. So put those ones out. The 1.5 inches on this is from Craft Outlet, and then the green with the white raised stitching is from Kringle Designs. So on this one, it's going to be 9 inches for our tail length. And then we're doing 4.5-inch loops for this one, and also for the one that's going to go on top. So these are going to be our solids. There we go. Back out to 9. There's that. This one is going to be 8.5 inches for our tail length, and again 4.5 inches for our loop length. So because we already have the bottom, the solid green measured at 4.5 inches, we can just kind of gauge that. Put your finger in both and kind of slightly pull, and then you're good on your ribbon length at 4.5 inches, because we've already measured the bottom. You just have to measure your tail lengths. So this one's at 8.5. That one. Love this ribbon. I'll have to go back and get more. Okay. So we're going to save our winery for the top, but we're going to, I think this one had an extra piece on it. That was from the last one we did when we didn't have enough. I just don't like to throw it away when that could be put into a tail or something. So I just wrap it around existing. So this one's going to be 8 inches with 4-inch loops. So when I talk 4 inch, it's from the time you measure here to the outside. So there's 4. Let's just make sure we get a good twist on it. Right there. And then 8 inches right in here. That one. I love these 50-yard spools, especially if you have favorite ribbon that you use a lot. Like I use this, I guess it's like an olive or avocado color in almost every type of print. Swiss dot, plain, you name it, I use it in just about every design. And this last one's going to be 7.5 inches for the tail length. And then we're doing 3.5 inches for our loop size. Okay. Just a little one. A little too big. And then 7.5. And that takes care of all the ribbon in our bows. And in all honesty, even though there's a lot of ribbon used, you're not using an awful lot of length of ribbon. You're using about 2 feet. So depending upon what you pay for your ribbon, it could be like $1 for each color ribbon you put in there. Okay, we are going to use pink. Yes. I was like, do I have a moss green? And I do. So we're going to pick this whole thing up. We're going to slide our pipe cleaner on. Give it a couple good twists. It's always easier to twist the ribbon and hold the pipe cleaner. And then we're going to fluff it. So this is my custom made fluff board. This is a 24 by 24 by 1 inch thick with about 1.5 inches of a C-hook on the top. So that's just gonna grab right here to my pipe cleaner. It's gonna allow that to hang on. So all it's gonna do is move, kind of like swish left to right, but it won't move off the board. This way I can separate my tails from my loops. So we start at the bottom, and then on the opposite side, we're going to pull our tail out this way, trying to get it to lay flat, and then our loop, so that they're directly across from one another from the top and bottoms. Here, we're going to do opposites. We're going to pull the tail and the loop on the opposite side. We're going to pull our tail, and our loop's already there, so that it's staggering the colors as you come down every two. Now, if you want to mix it up so the green isn't all following the green, go ahead and, change direction if you want. Like it's going in the same direction as the other one that preceded it. But just whatever you do on this side, make sure you go opposite on the other. And so now we're going to take that Merlot, pull it here, pull it here. I kind of like the way this one's going, so I'm going to follow the green. Follow the green. And then here's our purple and our purple. And so everything's all laid out. Everything's all stacked. I have all my tails kind of in the middle. My loops are right here. And now this is where you kind of come and you just start pulling them up and open. So now we're kind of giving some life to them. You can put the arcs back in your tails by drawing them through your fingers like a pair of scissors. Just like this. And you decide how you want your ribbon combinations to lay. What do you want to come up between, two particular, like the Merlot and this raised stitching? I like the fact this does. We're gonna do our green off to the side.
Melissa said, so excited, got her board and hook for her fluff board for Christmas.
Nice.
But I have to wait for spring so it can be stained.
Ah.
Yeah, you have a garage? You can stain it in your garage.
Yeah,
it doesn't take very long at all.
You're just gonna want to leave it out there while it's drying, I suppose. And there we go. So I'm just kind of making it look the way I want it to be, looking down, what colors do I want to say, splayed out with my colors. So that's what it looks like for you.
Yep.
And so we're just going to pop it off the same way, that the opposite direction, actually, that it went on. We're going to set that to the side. See, it just slides next to my fridge. All put away. Okay, now is the moment you've been waiting for. So have I. We're gonna take our sign. We're gonna look at where does our sign need to be. Right now, all I see is tail tips sticking out. So I'm kind of just rounding them. So this is the way it looks. I'll kind of hold this so you guys can kind of see. Okay. Because I want my sign to be over here, I'm going to kind of just off-center it a little bit so that it has a little bit bigger spot on this side for like our bow. So this is where our bow is going to kind of sit. And we'll have our tails all just kind of cascading down. So with that being said, I am going to, it's already got 2 holes already put in the sign, so I'm going to use those. There's one. And using a 22 gauge floral wire works nice because if I did it with just a pipe cleaner, it has a tendency of getting stuck on the little fibers. So I'm going to build this from the back, which means we're going to put our wire in. Make sure it's even. I'm going to kind of give it a couple twists. Okay, do the same to the bottom. By building it from the back, it just means that it will lay flat on the wire instead of having the wire come out to the side.
Oh, this is a very pretty leather bow. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
Rita said going to be gorgeous. Audrey said very pretty leather bow.
So we're going to kind of migrate it down that way. So I'm going to go ahead and lift this up. I'm going to filter my wire through first. And actually it's right on a cross member, which is perfect. We're going to bring it up and then I'm going to kind of pull and push this down at the same time. Let's make sure. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and pull here. Right there is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and get it twisted. Not too far, because sometimes I have to go back in, like I think I will, and have to pull that up a bit. Make sure I can hit my sign. Make sure it's on either side of your bar. Go ahead and just kind of pull some of this. It just makes for not having to go fish it out later. Okay, right about there. And then I'm going to go ahead and lift up the other side so it's not quite so squished. Which is why you only twist a couple times. Just want to make sure I'm twisting the right way. There we go. So bring this in. Okay, now for the outside piece right here, we are going to just grab some of our Deco mesh. I'm going to make sure that the loops that we put to the outside aren't all smashed in. We've got these pieces here. Not worried about that side because that's where our bow's going. So I'm going to focus on where there we go. Open. Goes back over here. And this is where our bow is going to sit up here in this corner. So we'll have a little bit here, but right here is our bow home. This is where our bow is going to nest. So I'm going to look, make sure I've got my pipe cleaners. I'm going to place that right about here. Perfect. Found another crossbar. You just got to work your way through all the levels of mesh. You don't want to pull too tight because everything that we just did on that fluff would be wasted. And then we are going to, if it's a little too fluffy, you're just going to kind of take that, tuck it back under so that your bow has a place to nest. Okay, we're doing the same thing here. There's that, and that. Let's flip. Well, let's pull it back just a little bit. Not too much, just a little. Just so we can see the premium.
Thank you, gals.
Okay.
They're also just beautiful. That's the gorgeous colors.
So now, this is what it looks like, and then we're going to start to embellish. So it's an awful lot of blah in the center. Like there's just a touch of color, but not a lot. So this is where coming in with our grapes and our grape leaves is going to kind of come into play. So I'm just flipping my bow over here so it lays over my loop. Okay, so let's get our grapes out. So Hobby Lobby, go ahead.
So what, you're going to put in grapes?
I'm going to put in grapes, right. Hobby Lobby has this pick, which is kind of like an ivy. So it has small and it has bigger leaves at the bottom. The grapes come in a couple different. So there's green, there are purple, there are little versus big, and then there obviously is little. So you have like your green grapes in 2 different sizes, and then you have your purple grapes in 2 different sizes. Hobby Lobby, for the win. Wait for them to go on sale. When you wait for them to go on sale, they're half off. These are about $5 each right now. So when I got them, they were on sale. So when I was looking at this design, it's natural to want to match what the sign does. So I'm going to kind of go opposite of what the sign has. So I'm actually going to have a cluster of grapes down in here. So there's going to be one here. And then we're going to take our big purple, or our green ones, and we're going to tuck these down over here so that these are cascading down in here, like so. These ones will hang a little bit lower, so they're down about here. And then we're going to add some of the baby bunches all the way around. So the easiest way to secure the grapes is they actually have they have a little round hook in them. So there's like a little round hook. So you're just going to take your pipe cleaner. You're going to go around your grapevine, or your grapes, your bunch of grapes. Then you figure out where you want to hang it. So I know I want this one coming out just underneath my bow. So this is actually going to go right behind my, I'll show you in a second. Let me just get my pipe cleaner worked in. Just want to make sure they're on opposite sides. Okay, so they're going in right behind my loop. So when I do this, I can pull, oops. It's kind of hard to get your pipe cleaner to pull up, but you're going to pull them right in. You're going to wire them right in, and then we now have, they're going to hang towards the bottom, so I'm not really worried about you know, which direction. I want to make sure that my grape leaves are hanging. So these will go this direction. So go here. So they're going to kind of hang from just underneath the bow, like so. There's that one. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, but it's going to be down a little bit lower. So find your little hook right in so. I like to wire them on first. And then this one is actually going to go down a little lower. So it's going to go the same way. Right behind our half bow. So I've got to get both sides in. And make sure you've got a wire in between. I'm going to pick it up and over my loop. Give it a pretty good snug. This makes me want to take this to that wine bar. Hey, here you go. So we're going to take the leaves that are attached to this design, pull them down, and then we still have our half bow in place. Just like this. And so these are the ones that are going to hang off the bottom because obviously there's an awful lot of weight on that. Okay. So right now they're just like this. So they have free moving grape. Okay. So now let's put some grapes and some grapevine to the center. So I'm just going to kind of look at some random places where maybe the leaves aren't going to really impact the sign too much. Like I really wanted to put them a little higher. But if I did that, then they're going to impact my sign. So I'm just going to take the smaller ones that are in here, and they're always towards the top. So here's another trio. Let's get this one down. One down in here. Just need to separate those ruffles a bit. And that one we can actually have out on our sign. So, and I'm going to take some larger ones. And I'm going to tuck these just behind. So these will all get glued in. I'm just letting them sit for placement for now. So just like that. And I don't want it to look like a quad, like one here, 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 and here, even though I feel like sometimes it needs that. So this is what I will do, is I will take the smaller grapes and from the bottom, because that's where they're kind of clustered a little bit, is I will snip them off. So I have one that's going to go in my bow. 2, we're going to add these to those little leaf areas around here. So like that. And just the way that they're created, you can snip them off your vineyard, your little grapevine. So we can have a little cluster like that. And there's that one. So we can kind of have this one. I'm looking for like the right look. There's that one. And we're going to snip this one.
I mean, no, she wouldn't donate it. She would just go in there and ask them if they were interested in purchasing this and using it further.
You never know. You might walk in there and then somebody sees it and they're like, I'll take it. So we just have like, it's a really small business that just opened. Well, they've been open for a while, but I think they would like that. And I like the way that looks, and I'm feeling like there just needs to be something at the top, but let me look. Sometimes it could just be something simple. Oops. Like I might just leave the leaves there, because they don't all need to have a cluster of grapes on them. But let's grab this one. Same thing down here. And a little bit larger. The reason why I like this pick is because it had different size leaves, so I can kind of pick and choose what I wanted as far as size. There's like big ones and then there's some smaller ones, but I think I like that look. So I'm gonna go ahead, let me show you how it looks. It's gonna be kind of hard to see for now. I'll try. Just lift it ever so slightly.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, so now I'm gonna glue all those in place. So I'm going to take my large one. This is actually going to adhere to the mesh. So I'm going to add it to the back side.
The grape or the kind of winery ribbon that has the grapes on it, the leaves on it, is from 5th Street Studio. The good thing about Kat's private group is every video she does, even in the public or the private group gets a copy of the list. It has all the part numbers and where it's from and everything.
It's like a shopping list. Yeah. So here has all the links. So like here's the vendors that I went through when I found them. I just don't want this curl to be quite so curly. There we go. Can you please wait till it just settles into a dry? Okay. Take the grapes out. I'm going to glue them in reverse order. So we're going to add this one under, right to our mesh. It's going to kind of create a base. And then the same thing for this. It'll create a base for our grapes to sit on. Just like that. Then we're going to come in and right where I want to set my grapes, I'm going to put a blob of glue because it'll stick to all the little grapes that are on there. Same thing here. Right where I want to attach my little grapes. They'll kind of go in there. We want to make sure the grapes are on top, just like so. I'm just kind of working my way around reverse order. There's that one. Remember, this is just our leaves. And then we have our big one. Let's make sure we can pull some mesh right over here. There we go. There's the first one. Just kind of holding them in place because I want them to lay flat until I get that weight on them. This time let's put our purple in. And then we'll put our green on top. So it's a little bit opposite of the other. Okay. Make sure we got all the glue threads out. You have the option, you can add more leaves around your base. You can kind of tuck them in under your half ribbon tails. So I'm just kind of putting those on the Merlot colored ribbon. This is a 2. And then we will be done. too. So you can kind of see what I've done. I've added a grape leaf right here. So I'm doing them right all on the Merlot colored. Because coincidentally, it's kind of like where I almost put all of the grapes at. They're like almost situated right in front of all the Merlot colored ribbons. And you can add as many or as few as you want. You can add little pieces of grapes if you want underneath that as well. I gotta remember not to forget the one there. Can't really do it. Add a leaf in here. Maybe we can. We'll add this to the bunch of green grapes that's here. Just to give it a color contrast. So I am, before I do that, make sure this is where I want it to go. All of my ribbon is where I want it to be. I'm going to put a dot of glue so I can situate my grapes right on top. We'll grab another little cluster here at the bottom. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of have these ones peeking out from under my bunch of purple ones. It's like Welch's grape, right? You have white grape juice and then the regular grape juice. Okay. I think everything is in where it's supposed to go. I'm hoping. I'm going to actually just remove one grape because there's just like, you can see the plastic stem, so I don't want to see that. Okay, let's hang it up. Let's hang it up. So roll it in. You guys ready? Let's hope nothing falls off. That's always like the...
Make sure everything's glued in.
Yeah, make sure everything's glued in really good. That's the one thing you're like, you're fearful of in your lives. Like, most of the time, it's because I forgot something that I didn't glue in. So, I think everything should stay. Let's try it. Then we'll fix it. It's actually pretty heavy with the grapes on it. So, we're going to pull this back just a touch. All of our...
So I've seen the one you did with a cross that said welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I looked everywhere for the sign and I asked where you got it.
Etsy, I think. I actually just went because a customer said she was like adding a whole bunch of different things to her design. She's like, well, I wanted to say welcome. I'm like, okay, well, I have a welcome sign. And she's all, but I also wanted to have a cross. And I'm like, well, why don't we just take, like, I went and searched for it first. And I was like, can you put like a welcome on a cross? And it was already done. So I was like, at least it looks like it's supposed to be that way. Not like we're just adding a whole bunch of things to the design. And then she loved it. Because I was like, I don't want it to look like we were just throwing stuff in there.
I think Linda, she said magnificent and won't stay in your shop very long.
Well, that's always our goal, right? Yeah. But then sometimes you'd like them to be around for a while. Because you like looking at them.
Joanne said that's huge. Actually, it's only about 24, maybe 26 inches.
I'll measure it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Let me just, because you got to do your thing for your photos. You always got to make sure all your ribbon, like you never want to have curly, like these. You want to make sure everything looks like it's steamed and pressed.
Yeah, that should still fit in a 24-inch box.
Oh yeah, because we just did the one with the cross on it.
Yeah.
And the cross was actually a 14-inch cross. It was a lot bigger than I thought. And I was like, maybe it won't fit. No, it fit fine.
That prop we have is an actual 36-inch door, so
This is an outside door.
it's an outside door.
So, okay, there you go. That's what it looks like. I will measure it for you though, just so that we know. So it depends on how you measure. Do you measure from ribbon tip to ribbon tip? I measure from mesh to mesh. And if we look at mesh to mesh, we're at 24 inches. It's probably a little higher than, it's probably 6.5 inches tall. But yeah, it'll fit. Like, you know, you're looking at this on a 36-inch door. So that's what you get. And I like adding little nuances like hiding, you know, like the green grapes here under the bow. You can see the bottom half, but you can't really see them until you're up and kind of playing with it. But yes, this is available on my site. All you see right now on the website is just the sign, because obviously we don't know what the sign would look like until it was created. But it's on KatsCreationsNMore.com if you want to purchase it. That's the only one that I'll be making like that. And what other questions do you guys have? I love these colors.
There was a live on the one where you said that had the cross with a sign. No, it was a custom order. Yeah,
it was a custom order. So no, I don't have that live for that one. But don't forget on Sunday at 6 Pacific, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern time, we'll be doing a spring pastel wreath with a gorgeous sign. And it's going to be perfect for spring. So it's perfect for people who don't want the Easter, like the Easter bunny and stuff like that. Like they just want a generic floral spring. That's what we're going to be doing on Sunday. So I hope you guys will come back and join us. If you're interested in the private group, we meet every Sunday at 3 and every Monday at 5 Pacific time. So you just kind of have to do the backwards math to figure out what your time zone is. We'd love to have you. And I will see everybody on Sunday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Good night.